guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create loose Hollywood waves. There is another tutorial coming up where I will be showing how to do the structured Hollywood waves as well, but that's a slightly different tutorial, so I'm starting off with this one for you today. I've sectioned the hair off ear to ear, clipped that out of the way, and then I'm just taking a section at the bottom of the nape of the neck now. So I'm going to section this into 3 to 4 sections of about 1 inch. So what we're going to do is spray each section with some Stronghold hairspray, and then I'm going to comb through. Now I am doing this hairstyle on one of my styling dolls, and I have used it a few times, so it's got a little bit of product inside it, and that's why it's a bit difficult to comb through. You'll see me struggling a little bit. I'm going to take my GHD tongs and I'm going to show you exactly how I wrap the curl. So flat up, twist at the top and back down. Take it up flat, twist at the top, bring it down, flat, twist and flat again. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to let you see that a few times again so you can see exactly how I'm doing it. So then you hold this curl. Okay, so you're going to hold it for a good 6 to 7 seconds. Now, bearing in mind that you're going to be doing this style on a real client, so real hair is different to my mannequin's hair. So it's sometimes easier, sometimes it's a bit more difficult to do. But again, you're going to just spray each section, comb through that product with a comb, and then you're going to use your tongs. Now, the tongs I'm using are GHDs. So you take it flat, lift your hand up, twist at the top, bring it down, flat up, twist at the top and down again, flat, twist, down, flat, twist, down. So that is actually how you curl your hair to get the Hollywood wave style. The whole point is basically you are curling all in one direction, so each time you're curling in the same direction. Now I'm letting the curls actually just hang down once I've done this. What you can do if you find that you're doing this on your clients and you want that curl to kind of like hold its shape a little bit more, like I said, with mannequin hair you can get away with a little bit less styling. What you would do is actually, instead of releasing that curl down, you would actually just pin it up, and what happens is as the curl cools down, it will hold its shape better. And even the amount of time that you're holding for the curls, you may find that when you release the first curl, it's not curled very well. So in that case, what you would do is just curl it again, but hold it in the tongs for a little. Now, when you're actually curling, you're going to be curling in bricklayer fashion. So underneath, I did 3 curls. So in the top section now, I'm doing 4 sections, and then the section above, I'll be doing 3 again. And then I'll be, the following section I'll be doing either 2 or 3, just depending on how much hair I've actually got there. But that's how you actually get a nice pattern. So if you went along the first section and you had, say you just did 2 sections, and then the next layer of hair that you took 3 sections, and the next one you just took 1, you don't have that uniformed shape of curls building up. So what you have to do is just make sure you have a look at each section as you're combing it through. You'll know, and it's a decent amount of hair that you're going to be taking in each layer. So if your section is really thin and you can only get 2 curls out of it, then that's what you're going to have to do. So sometimes you have to compromise, obviously. In a lot of hairstyles when I do this, especially when it comes to doing the Hollywood waves, I would use clip-in extensions, but that's a complete tutorial that I need to show you guys. So but for this one, this is actually quite soft Hollywood wave, so it's not really that structured, and it's not messy, but it's not as neat and tidy as I would do my other Hollywood waves, where it's more structured and it's very clean. So we're just going to continue curling all the way up the hair to the crown. And what I've done is basically I've just fast forwarded this a little bit, so obviously I know it's quite repetitive, so I didn't want you guys to get bored. So I've done that, and then I move on to the next section. So the sides of the hair. Now here you can decide whether you want a center parting or a side parting. I went for a side here. So again, I'm going to start taking sections and split them into 2, bearing in mind you haven't got that much hair here now. So we're just going to take sections of 2 here and start curling away on another section. And again, I'm spraying the hair first, combing it through, and combing it through quite well so the product actually covers most of the hair. And then I use my tongs. The tongs I'm using is, I think they're 26 millimeters. You can use a bigger tong if you like, or even a smaller one. It just depends on the kind of curls you want. Smaller ones will give you a slightly tighter curl, bigger barrel will give you more bouncier curls. I'm also using the tongs and not a wand, but I'm using the actual tongs like a wand, if that makes sense. So depending on what you have at home, you know, you don't need to go out and start buying lots of new, you know, products and things like that. It's not the only way you can just, you know, create these looks. Like I said, I'm using my tongs as a wand. So if I had a wand, I'd just be wrapping it around as well. So I'm just literally not clipping the top section of the tongs when I'm actually curling. So as you can see, I've left it open. So I continue doing this all the way around. And what I'm doing is at this section is I'm splitting my last two sections. Now when I take the tong here, what I'm doing is I'm actually holding the barrel against the base of the hair for a few slight seconds before I actually start curling. So I'm just holding it right there and then I start curling. The reason I do that, it then gives it that slight lift. Can you see the curl is just kind of like standing a little bit higher than the other ones that I did. So I'm literally I'll hold it there a few seconds and that gives me that slight lift that I want, because I'm doing a side parting and I just wanted it slightly lifted. You'll see it more in this next section when I do it. And I'm not actually back combing at the moment. When you're doing this style on a mannequin, it's a little bit easier. But if you were doing your client, then what you would need to do is actually maybe back comb it a little bit, but you'd have to judge that when you're doing it. The top section I didn't actually split, I just took it in one section and curled it. Can you see? So that's all the curls done now. So what we're going to do is take this wide tooth comb and I'm just going to run it through. So I'm literally just running it through the curls. Now this bit's quite easy. So we're just going to use some, this is from Bedhead, and I think it's just like a styling cream, but I will note it down in the description. So I use that just to smooth the hair. So as you notice, I'm not actually going through the whole hair, I literally just patted the top of the hair, and then I'm using my comb and I'm gathering the ends together and combing through. Now I'm still not combing through properly yet. What I do here, this bit takes quite a while, to be honest with you, so this is where you have to be really careful and really get everything nice and smooth as much as you can. So I'm just taking the tail end of my comb and slowly trying to get this style to look like I want it to, and obviously like the ends you can see, I'm trying to tuck them in. So I'm using a lot of hairspray here, and I'm also using my hands just to create the look that I want. The Hollywood waves, what you'll notice also is I will use some hairspray and I'll be pushing up the curl, so where you can actually see the bend is where I'm actually pushing. You'll see that in a minute. So all these natural areas that you can see where it's curling is where I would spray it, and then I start pushing the curl up and it gives it more shape. Now I've left, this is actually has two sections at the moment, but here you can decide whether you want it back, forward. If you want to keep them, if you want that section to be back, then you would just back comb it underneath the section a little bit so that it actually doesn't have separation. So can you see I'm pushing it up, and when you do this it really makes a big difference. So you spray the hair, and then with the spray bottle, or sometimes or just with my hand, I'll push the hair up. So at the front I'm just going to give it a slight back comb, so I'm just separating it, just a slight back comb there. Again, it's a mannequin and it back combs a lot easier than it does on a real client. So you may have to back comb a little bit more than that. And then I'm just going to tidy up the sections. I have to go all the way around again, just combing through using my tail comb or using my fingers, hairspray, really tidying it up and going through the ends. The ends is what makes the hairstyle stand out. So on a real client, it's actually easier to get a really nice finish. On these mannequins it's not always as easy. But yeah, so you smooth it out and everything. So here you can decide whether you want a tiara, or you can actually pin it back from the side as well. And I think I'll show you pictures right at the end for both. and it's a very simple hairstyle, but it is quite elegant as well, and it can be done for parties or even like a nikah. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and all the techniques that I've tried to show you here. Do put them into practice and let me know how you get on.